everyone, this is Terry from terryscraftroom.com. I know I've been absent for a long time. It's been just a very busy, rough 6 months, I guess it's been, and I'm really sorry. But today we're going to make these little post-it note easels. So they have a little easel function here. And here's a couple of different versions. We're going to make a version similar to this one today, but we're going to also stamp the gnome. So let's get started. It takes one piece of cardstock. And as always, if you miss out on any of the measurements or score lines or anything, go on over to terryscraftroom.com. I'll have this posted with all the score lines and all the measurements and stuff, and you can get everything you need over there. So here's my one piece of cardstock that I have cut. I think it went this way. So what you'll need is cut this piece first, which is 3 3/4 by 11. So let me see if I can zoom out a little bit. Here we go. 3 3/4 by 11. Okay. Then you're going to have this piece left, and you're going to cut this piece at 7 1/4, and you want this full width, which is 4 3/4. So there's your, and then you just need one of these, and this is 2 3/8 by 2 5/8. And this other piece is 2 3/8 by 2 5/8, so you can save this for another piece, and this is scrap. So this would be all the scrap you have from one piece of cardstock. Isn't that cool? So let's get our scoreboard out. And we are going to score the 3 3/4 by 11 piece on the long side at 4 inches, 8 inches, 9 inches, and 10 inches. Real easy. 4, 8, 9, and 10. And then we're going to take this other piece, and this piece is 4 3/4 by 7 1/4. And on the long side, the 7 1/4 side, we're going to score at 2 3/4 and 3 1/4. And then we're going to turn it so we have the short side across the top. And it doesn't matter which side is up. And we're going to score it a 1/2 inch on both sides. So it's a 1/2 inch and 4 1/4. Or you could do a 1/2 inch, turn it around, and 1/2 inch. Either way works. And then we're going to take this little piece. I almost forgot this little piece. And remember, this is 2 5/8 by 2 3/8. So you want the 2 3/8, the shorter piece, across the top. And you're going to score it every 1/2 inch. So 1/2, 1, 1 1/2, and 2. If you've got the 2 5/8 across the top, then you'll see that there's a 2 1/2, and you've got the wrong side across the top. You want the 2 3/8 across the top, so you have 4 score lines. Okay, so that's all the scoring we're doing. We are using, so the Kindest Gnomes stamp set was in the July through December mini catalog. And it was just the most adorable, one of my favorite in the Christmas catalog. And it had the Gnomes dies that went along with it. Well, the Gnomes dies did not retire, but the Kindest Gnomes did. So the Gnomes dies fit in the spring catalog, the January through April catalog. We now have the friendly gnomes. And those Gnomes dies fit the gnomes in this stamp set. So we're going to use those today. So this is a great project if you have some scrap and you want to use up some of your scrap DSP. And there it is. I couldn't find my pieces of paper. Okay, so we're going to fold and burnish all our score lines. I'm going to use the 7 1/4 by 4 3/4 piece first. Okay, and then there's a pair of scissors around here somewhere. Okay, so we're going to, if you can see, well, let me zoom back in here. So we're going to cut this little tab out. So you want to cut away the score line on both sides, and then we're going to miter the tab itself to make that. And we're going to do that on both sides. And believe it or not, that is all the cutting we have in this project. Now, before we start putting it together, I have 2 pieces of DSP that are 3 5/8 by 2 5/8. One of them has to be that size, the other one has to be 3 5/8, and it can be as small as 2 or way bigger. It just needs, that one's going to go on the inside here and you're not going to see most of it. So whatever your piece of DSP is, as long as it's 3 5/8 wide, 2 inches is fine. And we're going to put it on the inside, and you'll never see this part that's not covered. And then the other piece is going to go on the outside, right here on the small area. I'm going to set that aside for a second, and we're going to do our stamping. And I've taken this little guy with the heart and the mushroom, and we're going to stamp them. And this piece is 3 3/8 by 2 3/8. Let me get my stamp and pierce pad. Remember, the stamp and pierce pad is great for these photopolymer stamps because they don't have the cushion like the red rubber stamps do. And so you get a better image if you have the stamp and pierce pad under them. Okay, and so I'm going to set that aside for a second, and we're going to stamp our little gnome. There we go. Now, the blends I used, since I'm using Bermuda Bay cardstock, I don't want the Bermuda Bay on the gnome to be too awfully dark, and so I'm using, that's the wrong one, Dark Pool Party and Light Bermuda Bay, so that it's a little bit lighter than the Dark Bermuda Bay, but not quite as light as the Light Pool Party. So let's see here. My mushroom stem will be crumb cake. And then what I did was I took the Pool Party, and on these spokes underneath the mushroom here, I just gave it a little color. Now, if you like this project and you need product to complete it, I would love to be your demonstrator if you don't already have a demonstrator. If you go over to terryscraftroom.com, there are, on the shopping page, there are links to shop with me. And I'm not going to make you watch me do all the coloring. Here is what this will be when it's colored. So I've already cut him out, and here's how I did the mushroom. Oh, I forgot to color in the windows. Okay, so here we are, and we just need to put our gnome on. Okay, so we'll put our gnome here on our piece of basic white cardstock. And now we can go back to here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend this over, the long piece over. And then I'm going to put glue on the two tabs, and this tab is going to go on the outside of the long piece. And same thing with this tab. And the reason being is you don't want the tab on the inside, because when you slide your Post-it notes in, then it could get caught on the tab. Okay, so we're going to close it up. And now the tab will be in between these two. So we're going to put adhesive on the short piece here and close it up. And do the same thing on the other side. Okay. And then what I like to do, just to give it a little, make it a little easier for people to grab their Post-it, is I just cut the sides like that. So I just go from where this piece ends, or this piece ends, to the corner on both sides. So there's that piece. Now we have this piece, and we're just going to fold and burnish all these score lines. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bend it over at the second score line and put adhesive on this last tab. And this last tab should not be, there's one tab that's shorter than all the others. And that's the 2 3/8 instead of 2 1/2. And so that's the tab that you put adhesive on. And then we're going to just bend it over, and then it creates a little square cylinder. And then this piece we're going to just fold and burnish here, and then this is the end with the 3 score lines. The uppermost score line we're going to bend in, and then we're going to bend the next one down, and then the last one back up, so that we have 2 valleys and a mountain there. And then we're going to lay it down and put adhesive on that last tab, and then bend that down and just give that a good zhuzh with the bone folder. Now we're going to put these together like that. So we need adhesive on the back, the whole back of this. And you want to do this part before you put that part in. And you'll see in a minute why. Okay. So just marry those two up and lay it down, and take your bone folder and just give it a good zhuzh in there. And that's a technical term, zhuzh. so that that bonds nicely with each other. And that's why you want to put this in last, is because if you had that in there, you couldn't give it a good pressing, because this would be in the way. Now, so for this piece, you're going to put adhesive on 2 faces of it. Okay. Then you're going to kind of pull the front of this out and just slide that in like that. And now you have a pen holder. Okay, and then let's put our gnomes on, or our gnome in our gnome house on. And you really can use just about anything you want on the front of this. Like you saw, I had the owls on one. But there is our little thingy. Put a pen in it and a post-it note in it, and there you have it. This is probably one of my best sellers at craft fairs. So yeah. So I hope you enjoyed today's project. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Or leave a comment over at terryscraftroom.com. I love to hear from you, and I will always answer any comment that is left. Have a wonderful day, and I hope that I will be able to start bringing you more and more of these videos as time permits. Thanks a lot. Bye.